Hello again, and welcome back to FSD TV. I'm your host, Mark Sonny, and today we have Terry Orr with us. She's back again, and she's going to give us something to pump our spirits up, and that's a rainbow. And she's going to help you make a rainbow you can actually hang in your window. So, Terry, let's see it.
Hi, my name is Terry Orr. I'm with All the Arts, and I'm super excited to be back to do an art project. Thank you for joining me. I'm also joined by Gage the Bear, so I want to say thank you to him too, and I'm looking forward to guiding you through an art project looking at rainbows. So rainbows are those arcs of colors in the sky opposite of the sun, often shown through mist or spray, the sun shining through those things. There's a huge trend right now to do rainbow art and hang something up in your window. So I thought I would guide you through a little bit of a rainbow art project. Today we're going to be doing an abstract rainbow. Abstract means it's not attached to it being realistic. It doesn't have to look exactly like how a rainbow might in real life. So we're going to be doing an abstract collage. I'll just show you a quick example, kind of like this, using torn paper and then an option to cut out those arcs. Oftentimes when we approach abstract art, we like to choose maybe one or two things that is based in realism. That helps us understand what we're looking at. So today for our rainbow, the things that we can think about are the arcs, the shape of a rainbow, and even the colors. Oftentimes the colors of the rainbow go red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. So color and shape are those two realistic elements that will add to our abstract collage today. The first materials that you will need to do this project is you're going to need a piece of paper. This is where we're going to do our marker or crayon designs onto. These are our colors. We're going to later be ripping this paper up to create our own page that we will cut out our rainbow arcs. The second thing you'll need is another piece of paper. This is what we're going to glue down once we tear our paper up, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. We're going to glue our torn paper down to another piece. There's an option for a third piece of paper, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. We'll also need some coloring tools such as markers or crayons, wherever coloring tools you have with you, and glue sticks and scissors. So those are our materials. The first step is we want to create our colors, the colors that we're using for our rainbow. Again, you could use red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple like I have in my examples, or you can mix it up because remember we are going to keep that shape of the rainbow there, so that could be just the thing that you bring that's realistic, and you can kind of use whatever colors you want. It's really up to you and what inspires you for your abstract rainbow. So once you have your coloring tools and your paper, whatever color paper you want to work with, you can see in some of my examples I used a green piece or a brown piece, and I think the colors look really cool on those as well. So again, it doesn't have to be a white piece of paper, just kind of whatever you have with you. We're going to create our colors. This is where we're going to tear later, so we don't want to get too attached to any kinds of lines or designs we want to do. Here's like a finished example of what it kind of looks like. You can just do different lines, patterns, or even color it in all the way. So I would just maybe do some squiggly lines here. I could even add straight lines with the orange or diagonal lines. I've even did in some of my examples circles. So again, you're kind of just filling up this page with whatever colors you're using for your rainbow. For example, like this. This is a finished one. Once you've gotten here, this is where we're going to tear. We're actually going to tear. When we rip the page, we kind of create this really cool kind of texture. It almost makes it look like a quilt. So we're going to tear the paper and glue it down. One way I like to tear is I kind of use just my thumbs, and I like to start in a corner, and I'm just pinching it along, just kind of like this, so I get a nice small tear. I'm not going really fast and spreading my arms really, really wide. I'm pinching it. This can make it a little easier to glue down a little bit later. So you actually want to tear that paper. You can have big pieces, you can have small pieces. We're going to be gluing these down onto our second backing paper after we have it all torn up. So after you have it all torn up, let's say just pretend I've torn this whole page up, you're going to grab your second piece of paper, and we want to start gluing these pieces down onto this piece of paper. It's okay if your pieces don't fill the entire page. We want to just get as much on there as possible, because this is when we're going to cut out, after this, we're going to cut out our actual rainbow shape. So something I like to do when I'm gluing down torn pieces of paper is I like to find ones that have a straight edge. When I find one that has a straight edge, I like to start with that one in a corner. I kind of match it up to that corner. That way I just am able to really work through that page. So kind of, if you're approaching this, find those pieces with the straight edge and put those on the edge like that. Also, another thing, as I'm gluing down, I'm going to do a little bit of overlapping. Overlapping is when you place pieces of paper on top of each other a little bit. So I'm not gluing them separate where I'm leaving a big gap in between my torn pieces. I'm actually overlapping. This might mean that you do not fill up the whole page with your torn paper, and that is okay, because we are going to be cutting it out. We're more creating a back design for us just to start. So try overlapping, really filling up all those different colors. Then let's say I have finished that. Here's a good finished example. It'll be time for us to move on to cutting out our rainbow. One way we can cut out the rainbow, it's almost like a half circle. That's what I like to, I kind of start at this corner and I imagine I'm cutting out just a half circle or one big curved line. So I'm going up to the very top when I get there, and instead of moving my hand all the way around like this in a weird direction, I actually turn my paper around just so I can make it a little easier for me to cut. Again, instead of moving my hand when I'm ready to go down like this at an awkward angle, I turn my paper to finish the last of my arc. Something kind of fun is there's a little bit of extra scrap pieces of paper that I will save for another project later. Then part of the rainbow, they have another arc just in the center. So I'm going to cut that out and I'll have my beginning rainbow shape like this. Again, I'm going to save this for another art project for later. So here's one option. You can leave it like this. This is a great option. You could even add clouds at the end if you have extra pieces of paper or some kind of rainbow accessory. Remember, they kind of come through rain or mist, so it might even add raindrops. You can stop here. If you have another piece of paper, we can build rainbow arcs. An example of what those separate rainbow arcs looks like is right here. I've cut out individual arcs. So I'm going to show you how to do that extra part. Again, this is a great place to stop. Just like this, we've got our rainbow arc, we've got the abstract design, and it kind of looks like a quilt. So you can stop here or move on to this next part. How we're going to create these rainbow arcs, again, you will need another piece of paper if you choose to do individual rainbow arcs. So I have another piece of paper right here. I'll bring out a color so I can really see it. So I have another piece of paper right here, and I'm going to approach cutting out my arcs. How I do that is I start, it's almost like I'm trimming, almost like I'm just trimming the top of the arc, and I cut it around like this. And I'm following the cut I already made. Watch how I'm also turning the paper around so that my hand, once again, doesn't have to go in weird directions. So I'm cutting out, trimming the top, following my lines just like that. So I will have cut out my whole rainbow arcs, individual arcs, just like this. So I have one that I've cut out already. This is one that was cut out, all those individual pieces. Then the next part is, what I like to do is I like to pick every other arc. So I have my first arc, I'm taking my second arc. I have my third arc, I'm taking my fourth arc. My fifth arc, I'm taking away my sixth arc, seventh arc, taking away the last arc. That way I can see a little bit of space in between, and it kind of reminds me more of those red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple arcs you would see in a real rainbow. After you've done that, you're going to glue these down to that second piece of paper, whatever color you have. I think it's fun to use these bright colors, especially thinking about rainbows. You're going to glue those arcs down. So I'm kind of flipping it over, placing it, leaving that little bit of space in between so that I can see those individual pieces. The very last step after we have glued these pieces down is you can cut it out one more time to really get that shape of the rainbow. There's another option here. I like to call them rainbow accessories. I was kind of mentioning that earlier. You can see on this one I added some clouds, or you could add raindrops. I've also seen artists imagine the rainbow was at nighttime and put stars there. So I think about whatever kind of rainbow accessory you might like, and there's an option to add it or draw it on here if you want to. If you've added your rainbow accessories, the next and last step is we're going to cut this out one more time. I like to do a bubble cut. A bubble cut is when I imagine a big bubble is all the way around and I'm cutting just to the outside. So I'm not actually cutting right on my first rainbow arc. I'm cutting maybe ½ an inch or so to the outside along that bubble line. I find that is a little easier for me to cut out, and I like the little bit of paper space. It makes me really able to focus on those colors and things I did for my rainbow. So I'm bubble cutting all the way around, just like this. And I have my finished rainbow design. The last step, of course, is to clean up any scrap papers you have or save them for another art project. I love doing that. And please hang your rainbow in your window. You could put it up in your window. I'm gonna show Gage these up close. What do you think? What kind of rainbow accessory might Gage the bear pick? That would be a fun thing to think about. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoy this abstract rainbow design, and I look forward to seeing you put yours up in your window. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Terry, and I am feeling better already. And who doesn't feel better when they're looking at a rainbow? So again, thank you so much for that art project today. On behalf of everyone here at FSD TV Studios, my name is Mark Sonny, and this has been FSD TV.